All right, Saturday, 1 o'clock in Carson, San Diego State back in action against Hawaii, trying to get to 3-1. And we're joined right now by the head coach of the Aztecs, Brady Hoke, joining us once again on the Cannons. Coach, it is awesome to have you. And I want to start with the week of practice, how it's gone, and what do you typically learn about a team the week after you suffer your first loss of the year? And what do you hope to learn about your team this weekend on Saturday?
Yeah, I think, number one, we've had a good week. I think our senior leadership, I think the details and the coaching, I think the team, you always look for that intensity and that level that you want to have, that concentration. And I think it's been a good week. We obviously, we learned some things about ourselves. We got to take care of the football. We can't give up touchdowns at the end of the half, and we got to be better in the red zone, both sides of the ball. So, we've got to improve on all those things. They've all been addressed, and, I think this team is ready to play.
I happened to catch you on the Brady Hoke show yesterday. I listened.
Hey, what happened to you last week?
I've listened. I'm listening, and there was the Brady Hoke show, and Brady Hoke was on.
Wait, you're not going to hang on.
Did you hear what he said?
You're not going to answer the coach's question. He said, "Where were you when the Cannons interviewed Brady Hoke right here on your own show?"
I was. It was a date day. I had a date.
He was off for a date.
That's wow. At least we got some karma now.
Coach, again, you and I are the same age here. I'm still trying to make it work for myself, okay? That's what I'm doing. Okay, so, but before we can look ahead to Hawaii, I am still trying to, did you ever get any clarification how it is that you can actually hit a receiver trying to return a punt before he actually has a chance to catch the ball? I mean, how was that call made? What explanation were you given? Because if that's a new rule, there's no halo apparently in college football anymore that you can actually blast a receiver on a punt before he actually catches the ball. That's a pretty effective way of creating turnovers.
Well, no doubt about it. And, especially that's the most defenseless player on any football play, basically, is on a punt. And, we did our due diligence and sent in, the question that you just asked, and the answer was they should have thrown the penalty flag. So, doesn't help you, but they obviously, at least they admitted that there was a mistake made.
I'm glad they admitted it. Like you said, it doesn't help you. Bad day at the office for Mount West officials that day for certain. There were other calls, and we got into that a little bit on your show, Coach. But I digress to ask you about this team in preparation for the upcoming weekend's play. Lucas Johnson, we haven't gotten an opportunity to see him yet. What's the status update with the transfer quarterback, his health? If we're going to see him maybe folded into the offense in any unique ways in this game or maybe in the second half of the season?
Well, number one, he's gotten healthier, which is a great thing. Doing a good job in practice. I think right now, obviously, Carson's the guy. But depending on situational football, I think Lucas, with his attributes and what he brings to the table, there's always that possibility.
Brady Hoke joining us right now on the Cannons against San Diego State and Hawaii, 1 p.m. on Saturday. You can hear that game right here on Xtra 1360. Coach, tell us a little bit about the quarterback you're going to face this weekend, Chevan Cordero, who last week against New Mexico threw for over 400 yards. They always have been known for their passing attack on offense. What are your expectations for Hawaii's quarterback and their offense against your defense this weekend?
Well, the only thing you got to do is go back to last year and the 96-yard drive that Cordero put together and their offense put together to take the lead in the football game. And he is, Fresno, they run for over 300 yards. Last week they throw for over 400 yards. So, he's very talented. He is a guy who can extend the pocket, extend plays, which drives a defensive line coach crazy. The run game with him, particularly in the red zone and in some short yardage situations, they've been very effective. So We got to try and keep them in those longer third down situations. So we got to play better on first and second down, and then got to try and get some pressure on him that's controlled to some degree.
Every week you're going to learn something new about your team, and obviously the first two games were so lopsided. When you look back at this game against San Jose State, good or bad, what was the biggest surprise to you from your team in that game?
Yeah, I think two things really. When you look at the film, we got to block at the second level better. I think at the line of scrimmage, at the point of attack, we were pretty decent, but it's getting that, next 5 yards. And how you're going to get that is getting to the second level, getting to the linebackers. San Jose defensively is the second-ranked defense in our conference. I think they do a very good job. They played an 8-man box most of the day, and so they were really committed to it. Greg got over 100, but we didn't have the big plays. We didn't have the 10-yard runs like we did the week before.
Brady, last week there were plenty of things left over that you could argue, okay, we need some work here or there. I think there were certain plays that were positive from Carson Baker. There were absolutely certain plays where you scratched your head a little bit. But overall, what has the progress looked like at practice with Carson and, of course, Coach Heck on the offensive side working with him?
Yeah, well, number one, I thought he was really sharp this week. And, we try and compete one-on-ones, especially on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, for the speed of the for the speed of the game. But I think he's improving every time he goes out on the field. I think his football IQ gets better at being a quarterback and being a quarterback in this system. The RPO game that can come in there. Was really happy to see him pull a couple of the zone reads and the stretch read last week and make some good plays for us offensively. And I think he'll just continue to grow.
Coach, do guys need extra motivation to turn out, to have big efforts? I'm speaking to the point that, you guys last year had a big game against Hawaii on the road. You were playing for a chance to get into the Mountain West Championship game, and they beat you 14-11. Is that on the minds of your players that played in a game like that?
No, there's no question. The last 2 years, and obviously last year was more significant because of we could have gone to the championship team if we just don't let them score, and we tell the defense, they can't win if they can't score, so we got to do a better job keeping them out of the end zone. Last week, San Jose was 5 for 5 when they were in the red zone, and that's something that we can't do. We got to keep them out of the end zone, and that's the same thing we got to do with Hawaii.
A couple of things here, Coach. First of all, you won't miss me on Thursdays because my normal date night is Tuesday, so you won't have to worry about that moving
he was
forward.
Worried.
I knew he was worried about that.
I'm writing that down in my calendar.
You will not have to worry about that anymore, Coach. But a more serious question right now is, do you get a sense from the players, a sense of urgency? I mean, we were already talking about in a short season where every game counts even a little bit more, sort of that must-win mentality. Do you sense some urgency amongst the players heading into this Hawaii game?
Yeah, I think there is. But at the same time, we got to play Aztec football, and that's what it comes down to. The special teams, we got to play better than we did last week. They had a couple kickoff returns that got past the 25-yard line, and that's unacceptable. Obviously, the turnover on the punt, which we talked about, it was a big play in the football game, and playing Aztec football is playing physical, and that's what we constantly talk about and what we want to be. So, and that's what we have been. So we just got to take steps forward, realize what we didn't do well last week, and play much better. We just got off the field, and I asked them the same thing. I asked them at halftime, can we play better? And I asked about 8 different individuals. Were you playing your best football? We got to improve and play our best football.
Are there any advantages to playing during this pandemic? We've been hearing about all of the disadvantages, the Zoom meetings, the constrained amount of time that you had to actually hit each other on a football field, playing 11-on-11 football, leading up to a season that's been shortened by this pandemic. But do you see any advantages whatsoever for your team or teams during this time?
Rich, there's no advantage. There's no advantage, Zoom learning and Zoom everything that we're doing. Not a big fan. You like to have the actual meetings, and when you're talking and coaching a guy up, you want to be able to be right there with him, whether it's good or bad. You want to, praise good things, and you want to correct and coach and teach, the bad things not to do. So I don't see any, from where I see and where I sit, I don't think there's any advantage to, besides having the opportunity to go out there and play, which again, our university, and you guys have heard me say it a bunch, Adela, our president, has done a wonderful job, JD, and the administration have done a terrific job. Our guys have done a good job. They've done a good job with being vigilant about trying to, wear a mask all the time on campus, washing their hands, socially distanced. Believe me, we're not perfect, but they've done a hell of a job to be able to go play football.
Coach, well, safe travels tomorrow. We're looking forward to football Saturday at 1, a day game for the Aztecs.
And now that I was on the show today, unlike last week,
you're
full
good.
cannon karma this weekend, okay? I apologize.
Yeah, you don't even have.
That's what I've been waiting for.
You don't even have to show up on Saturday.
Full cannon karma this weekend.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
There it is.
Brady Hoke.